Yes. Hello, my beautiful friends. It is an amazing day and welcome back. I hope your weekend was incredible. Hopefully you're feeling rested and restored and recovered and ready to go. We are going to have a busy week here, no doubt about it. I'm glad you're here and joining us. We got some business to attend to. Before we go into it and zoom in, let's do a quick preview so we get our bearings straight. We got some FBI and DOJ news coming up. They're reaching out to get lawyers. Oh, you're kidding. They are getting ready to be prosecuted. Why? I thought they didn't do anything wrong. I thought that they were just pursuing justice. Well, they're going to say Trump is weaponizing the DOJ against them, and we'll see who they bring aboard to defend them. But we've got interesting news from NBC. We've got panic at the FBI. We saw this exchange captured courtesy of our friends over at the Gateway Pundit, sharing this exchange on CNN that we'll watch together before we poke around the rest of the media and see what's cooking with this Matt Gaetz appointment. Because certain people like Trey Gowdy, you know what he sounds like. We'll listen to him. He's coming up. He has been running his mouth against Matt Gaetz this entire weekend, trying to stop him from gaining any momentum. And Mike Johnson was also out over the weekend talking about this because there is some important business to attend to. Democrats are circling their wagons. We've got Amy Klobuchar, who's out talking about it. We've got an update from the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, which is where Jack Smith is trying to take his case up, and updates on a J6 case and a promise of a certain pardon, or let's say certainty of a promise of a pardon. So we'll talk about it. Then we've got this new resistance forming, which is something we'll look at from the New York Times. We've also got the world leaders. Oh, gosh. Oh, you haven't seen this clip. Oh, my gosh. They took the G20 photo without Joe Biden. And this clip from Forbes is just shocking. They don't even care. Joe Biden is just gone with the wind. So then we'll turn our attention over to New York, because Tish James needs to have some repercussions coming. And a representative named Claudia Tenny, who is a representative in New York, is saying Tish James needs to be disbarred and removed from office immediately. She's right about this. She's not alone either. We've got AG Todd Rokita, who is hailing from the great state of Indiana, sent a letter in with a bunch of other states like Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, and more, demanding on behalf of the states and we the people that the prosecutions of President Trump stop already. This one went to Tish, to Fannyland, and to Jack Smith. And so we'll see what the states had to say about that. We got the full letter queued up. Then, if you were wondering what Tish and Al Sharpton were up to this weekend, well, they were at church and they were getting blessed with oil at the Baptist Church Center, anointed with oil and the Holy Spirit, hopefully purging out some of those demons of corruption that have been embedded in Tish. We've also got updates from some other Congress people weighing in on Matt Gaetz, and Merrick Garland came out today and was giving a pep talk to baby oil. Oh my gosh. Oh gosh, don't it. We got Merrick Garland, who came out and he's giving the DOJ a pep talk. All right. So you remember when you were in middle school and like something bad happened, you're like, or like you lost a football game or something, and something bad happened and teacher came out. You guys are great. We're going to win next time. Okay. That's what happened today for our pathetic prosecutors in the Southern District of New York. We'll watch that one. And then we'll listen to this news anchor was joined by, I think this was Liz Cheney. I don't know who this person was who was speaking on Face the Nation. I think that's Liz Cheney, but I'm not sure. Certainly looks like it, but we'll have to wait and see, I guess, what she sounds like in the clip. But a lot of people are looking different after the election. And I think Liz might be going through something. So we'll listen to what she says, or it could be Katie Hobbs. I don't know who that person is. They all start to blend together, but Katie Hobbs was also out. Oh, gosh. Someone says, I don't think that's Liz. That's not Liz Cheney. Are you sure? I think it might be. All right, so we've got that. Then we'll listen to Representative Anna Paulina Luna. And I think it is Liz Cheney. I think it is. All right, so we'll go through that. Then we've got Bucks County in Pennsylvania. Remember, they said that they're going to count illegal votes because we just don't care. Whatever the hell we want. We're Democrats. We do whatever we want all the time with no consequences. If you have a question about that, it's called the Fannyland policy. All right, so go talk to her. She lives in Fulton. So, well, they said we're counting all the votes. Whatever. Shove it, Republicans. Well, fortunately, the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania came out today and just minutes ago dropped a new opinion saying that, no, you can't keep counting those votes, you illegal cheaters. And stop it already. And the Republicans filed a bunch of lawsuits, which were a lot more relevant because they just won. So we're going to go through those, and then we'll see that the Supreme Court out of Pennsylvania says that they lose. Okay, stop counting illegal ballots, Democrats. It's obvious. Stop it. So, all right, this is what just came out of the oven fresh. We've got updates in Pennsylvania and other clips and reaction. Harmeet Dillon is there on the scene in case any other funny business comes about. And the chairman of the Republican Party, Michael Whatley, is commenting about this as well. Then we'll see, are there going to be repercussions for these people who tried to steal an election? Maybe the Democrats should be prosecuted for trying to steal a Senate seat, you know? Well, Town Hall has done a nice analysis on this, and so we'll go through that and more. And so the big question of the day is, who the heck is this person? We don't know. Well, I guess we're just going to have to wait around and see. Break out the magnifying glass. All right, so we got some good stuff to get to. I'm very excited to be here. I hope your weekend was incredible. We had an amazing weekend. And don't let me forget, I want to share something special at the end of the show that I got from a very good friend. And wait till you see what's inside this baby. Oh, it's very good. I can't wait to tell you. It came from a very good friend. I'll tell you more about it, but stick around. Wait till you see what's inside. It's awesome. It was incredible. So I'll share that with you. It's a lot of fun. Anyways, we're coming back to talk about that, my friends. But before we do, you know what we got to talk about? Our health, for crying out loud, because we got to be healthy out there. You know, you ever hear of that one concept called the last man standing theory? It's pretty simple. When chaos strikes, it's the strongest and the prepared who survive. Now, right now, we hear stories about the FDA changing a bunch of things. RFK just got nominated. So what are they going to do? Are they going to start rolling back some drugs or what, you know, to make things worse on their way out? Who knows? Question should be answered with the wellness company. Whatever they're doing, we don't care because we're going to get prepared on our own. The wellness company has a contagion emergency kit, which has all sorts of great stuff. Ivermectin, Z-Paks, in case you have a respiratory illness or something pops up. And the pharmaceutical companies, if there's lines, if something's going on, you're ready. You're 10 steps ahead. You've got it delivered to your door. Very simple to grab one. Answer a questionnaire. No hoops. You just go online. Super simple. So get prepared. Grab the wellness company's contagion emergency medical kit. Use twc.health/Robert to check out the website. twc.health/Robert. Use code Robert when you check out. You'll save $30 and you'll get free shipping. I got my kit. It's right there. Time to get yours. twc.health/Robert. Use code Robert. And this is for U.S. residents only. So our friends in the UK, got to find another solution. But thanks to our friends at the Wellness Company for sponsoring today's episode and, of course, for helping us get prepared. All right. Now, without any further ado, let's get into it. The FBI and the DOJ running scared. They are rounding up lawyers, defense attorneys, to help them prepare themselves for the repercussions that are coming via President Trump, Matt Gaetz, and an actual justice system that is going to get to the bottom of the conspiracy to prosecute a political opponent, namely Trump. Now, NBC News is reporting that they are getting prepped up. Here's the report saying multiple current and former senior Justice Department and FBI officials are reaching out to attorneys in anticipation of being criminally investigated by President Trump. This is according to 3 people with knowledge familiar with their deliberations. And they're having a meltdown on it on CNN. And there's more reaction to this. What happens when Matt Gaetz comes into power? They say following Trump's decisive election victory, many Justice Department officials and staffers were already nervous about the possibility that they're going to be targeted by Trump loyalists. Why would they be targeted? Did they do anything wrong? Did they break the law? Remember, the lecture is that no one's above the law. They've been saying that to us for years, even though they manufactured charges against Trump that have been summarily dismissed in many instances. Not summarily, but took quite a long time, and now it's dismissed. But in the Florida classified documents case, we're going to see that the New York prosecution is on thin ice because there was immune conduct brought into there. The Supreme Court has reconfigured the whole situation, and now even Jack Smith is trying to pause the J6 case. So one after another are falling like dominoes. And so now Matt Gaetz and President Trump and the DOJ can thoroughly investigate. Why was Fani Willis taking orders or meeting with people at the White House? Why was Tish James going over there? Same thing with Nathan Wade, Fannie's lover, and the rest of them. It was all being consolidated and coordinated by Democrats. Matthew Colangelo from the White House was the third in charge at the DOJ, left that to go handle Trump in New York. So how about we have a RICO investigation into these co-conspirators who tried to abuse their public office to prosecute their political opponent, to deprive him of his rights, and to take our rights away from us in the process. Jack Smith fraudulently stole tens of millions of dollars, illegally appropriated. You've heard me on this enough. But this continues, telling us, everything we did was above board, said FBI official, who started contacting lawyers. Yeah, right. But this is a different world when you guys aren't in charge of your political prosecutions. Now true justice is back. The official who spoke on condition of anonymity out of fear of becoming even more of a target, who is it? Don't be a weenie, doesn't believe any attempt to prosecute him will be successful. Judges and juries have the power to throw out cases or find defendants innocent if they deem prosecutions to be baseless. This is part of the problem. In Washington, D.C., as we talked about here when we covered the Michael Sussman case, Washington, D.C. voted 93% for Kamala Harris. When Michael Sussman was being prosecuted there for trying to instigate a global power by saying that the Russians were colluding with Trump to interfere with our elections, he was fishing that story to the FBI and to the media. When he got tried, the jury acquitted him because they said they got bigger things to worry about because they're Democrats and they knew he was working against Trump. So these FBI officials, they've got nothing to worry about as long as they're being prosecuted in D.C. But maybe they won't be prosecuted in D.C. because they committed crimes elsewhere. And in big parts, they were in Florida and they were following Trump in multiple jurisdictions. And we'll see where charges can be brought against them. Now, but like many other current and former Justice Department officials, he's bracing for a potentially long and costly legal battle, as well as protracted congressional investigations after Trump takes office. Career FBI employees are especially vulnerable, he said. Since they make less money, they would be in the private sector. They rely on pensions they get after 20 years. Oh, gosh. Agents have to do 20 years. These people don't have options. They're going to have a lot less now. Because they can't just go and become embedded with Twitter now. A former senior Justice Department official who served during Trump's first term said he, too, saw Gaetz' nomination as a sign of the seriousness of Trump's vow to exact revenge on those who investigated him. It's not revenge, my friends. No. Yours wasn't revenge, right? As you said, you weren't enacting political revenge. No. The people of the Justice Department are all good people, no matter what. So as long as they have the Justice Department stamped on their forehead, they can do whatever they want. And you can't question them. That was the rule that you morons established when you said even Merrick Garland couldn't be prosecuted for breaking the law because they get to decide for themselves that they're above it all. So Trump is too, okay? Matt Gaetz, if he goes to the DOJ and he sits behind that desk that Merrick Garland did, he is beyond reproach by virtue of his predecessor who set those terms. Gaetz, who was the subject of a federal trafficking investigation, ended without charges. Why did they prosecute Gaetz? Why can they keep bringing this up endlessly? Ethics. Nobody prosecuted him. How much can one person be smeared without consequence? We have a presumption of innocence in this country, and he's no longer subject to the jurisdiction of the Ethics Committee, which is a political body in the Congress. And the DOJ investigated it, and he was not charged. Now, Trump and his supporters have consistently argued that all of the investigations have been politically motivated, and they were, obviously. And I don't know why this keeps happening every time I try to highlight it, so stop doing that, Rob. Weeks before the election, Stephen Chung called for all state charges to be dropped, saying the entire case is sham and a witch hunt. Legal experts are not very much experts at all. And there's shock inside the DOJ. Shock. Justice Department officials, including Garland, were shocked by Trump's decisive win. They're like, wait, nobody is exactly like us in the DC bubble? For the last 4 years, Garland has argued that strictly following post-Watergate norms requires the Justice Department to work in a nonpartisan manner to restore public trust. And Garland came out and had to do a pep talk on this. It was one of the more pathetic things we've ever seen, which we'll get to. Instead, some career DOJ officials wept. They cried like little babies after the election, dismayed by the fact, but by large numbers of Americans who believe that the department is a cesspool of corruption. Oh, man, that's great. They were crying in each other's arms there at the DOJ. They don't like us. They think we're corrupt. We are corrupt. I know, but they know it now. Yeah, they know. It's okay. Molly and Jay Bratt, Molly with her highlighters sobbing. Jay Bratt's wiping her tears off. It's like in multicolor highlights. Cry harder. Justice Department and FBI officials say that the Trump investigations were carried out properly. Yeah, right. Justice Department prosecutors secured indictment from DC juries and corrupt judges named Beryl Howell against Trump for his mishandling of classified documents. Again, yeah, she did it in DC. And then they got search warrants there, which were highly problematic. And then they manipulated the evidence on scene. Nice. They expressed bafflement at what criminal charges could be brought. They said, what? There's no crime. What's the crime? What's the crime? Corruption, abuse of office, malicious prosecution, a deprivation of our rights, public fraud, misappropriation, theft of services, of government money, right? Misappropriation of funds. There's a billion different charges. Pick one. Mike Davis, a conservative lawyer and Trump ally, has argued that special counsel Jack Smith could be prosecuted for breaking the same laws that Trump did, right? As we speculate, a conspiracy against rights right there. Conspiracy against rights, which is a big one. The statute says it's illegal for anyone to deny a person a federal right like voting, saying that Trump's attempt to reverse the 2020 election, that was one of the charges in the J6 case, along with obstruction. It was obstruction, right? Obstruction of a federal proceeding. So charge him with that. And being a fictitious, practicing law without a license, Jack Smith, or practicing law without authority, because he was never appointed. Ilya Soman, a law professor at George Mason, said he did not see how Smith could be charged. I think it's absurd. I don't see any legitimate charge that can be brought against Smith. Well, you're just not being creative enough. Okay. Now, Soman warned that a prosecutor can investigate an individual over a long period, saying if Trump's attorney general appoints a special prosecutor to investigate that, they could find that a Justice Department or FBI official broke a federal law that doesn't even relate to the Trump probes. You're kidding. Like tax or drug infractions. He said, well, if you think about it, a majority of adult Americans have probably violated federal laws, like smoking marijuana at some point in their lives. And, for example, charged multiple Trump associates with unrelated crimes. Paul Manafort was convicted of tax and bank fraud. So get ready for it, DOJ punks. A special counsel appointed by Bill Barr, John Durham, also charged Sussman, who was then acquitted. Or was it acquitted? Or I think he was acquitted, right? Spend thousands of dollars in legal fees. And so they're all hitting the panic button because they're criminals. No one's above the law. They just didn't think that they were going to get caught. They thought that this would be enough to rig the election. And then as long as Kamala won, they would be free and clear of any consequence. Same thing that Michael Sussman and the rest of the FBI thought after Trump. They made the same mistake that they thought after 2016. They could do whatever they want. Hillary could allege Russia collusion, pulling it out of her booty, which is totally fraudulent, And I mean, it should be criminal for what she did. I mean, it was total fraud. And it was a scheme to manipulate the public at scale, and they all got away with it. Then they did it again this cycle. They tried to manipulate that Trump's an insurrectionist and a criminal and so on, felon, convicted felon, on baseless charges. Now repercussions should come their way. And we should go back to 2016 too. Trump was a nice guy the last time he was in office, okay? He didn't want to put Hillary in jail. Well, they raided his house. And I know President Trump is magnanimous, but we're not here, all right? Somebody else can be magnanimous. We want justice. All right, so here's this interchange on CNN, and you can see they're not happy about it. Here's a retired FBI special agent, Daniel Brunner, weighing in.
And joining us now to discuss is retired FBI special agent Daniel Brunner. Daniel, thanks so much for being here with us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Jessica.
And we just walked through this. Again, at this point, it is a hypothetical, but we do have reporting that this is a decision Trump is mulling over.
Could I just say this? So you hear CNN ranting about RFK Jr., right? Just as an aside, this is unrelated to this clip. RFK Jr. is going to be dangerous. Look at what they have at this bottom right panel. Tonight, is Ozempic right for you? With Dr. Sanjay Gupta. He's reporting on it. Is Ozempic right from you? It's an edu commercial. It's a promo commercial. He's going to go through it. And he's going to try to sell you on more pharmaceuticals. Okay, just to be clear what we're watching and what kind of a network this is. So this is some FBI goon here talking with this person.
And seriously considering if he were to fire Christopher Wray when he takes office in January. In terms of the implications for the FBI, for the agency to carry out its ability to carry out its mission, how impactful might that be?
Well, thanks for having me. And it's really important to understand that the person who's leading the FBI, who is the director, and then the deputy director, those are two very important positions. You're in charge of tens of thousands of employees, both special agents, analysts, everyone that is enforcing the law, federal law that is on the books and supporting the Constitution of the United States. Putting someone like Kash Patel in the position of director of the FBI is, I believe, extremely, extremely dangerous, because you just alluded to that his resume isn't his traditional. There is nothing on his resume other than 3 years as a line U.S. attorney at the DOJ. He has no experience.
Line, I think he said, not a lying, but a line, right?
Leading an organization, no less a Cub Scout pack. To put him in front of the lead law enforcement agency in the United States, and some consider the world, to have him in charge of so many employees. And he has clearly stated that he wants to exact revenge upon those that have investigated President Trump and those investigated those that are around him. He will conduct a massive amount of damage to the interior of the FBI, looking after employees who have put their names on certain documents because they were just working the case. There will be hundreds of employees who will be unjustly fired or have their security clearances removed only because he feels that it's something he needs to do. So I think he would be very, very dangerous pick.
And have you talked to any men and women that are still serving in the FBI? Are they concerned about that? You talk about his plans to maybe go and look and see who was on what document and purge, in his words, them from the FBI. Is there concern about that amongst the rank and file and then the people that make the FBI go?
Well, listen, I was a street agent for 20 years. I never became a supervisor, and I enjoyed working cases, investigations, and Latin organized crime for the FBI Newark. So I still have a lot of good friends of mine that are serving on the FBI on the front lines, special agents. Necessarily, not all of them are supervisors. So I talked to a lot of them on the streets, and they're concerned. They're concerned, obviously, of the appointment of Matt Gaetz as possible Attorney General. And they're, of course, concerned about Mr. Patel. You've got countless people who need to be removed, that there needs to be change. I'm completely for that. Lisa Monaco, a Deputy Attorney General, she has been a roadblock for countless FBI investigations. So she is somebody who needs to be removed and replaced. Putting good people, yet they can make the changes. I understand President Trump wants to make change, and a lot of people in this country gave the mandate to do that. I'm all for that. Dave
just pick one of our
Bowditch,
guys.
Jeff Jensen, and John Durham, all good candidates who would come in and move forward a new organization.
John Durham?
But yet still
John Durham? They want John Durham back in here? All right, so that's enough of that. So, all right. His solution is more of the same. They don't want somebody who's outside of the government. Kash Patel's greatest qualification is he's not an FBI lifer. Matt Gaetz's highest credential is he's not a DOJ lifer. He's not Bill Barr. He's not Merrick Garland. He's not these guys who are institutionalists. You cannot bring an institutionalist in to reform an institution. You got to bring somebody in there who's ready to really cause some changes. And that is not one of their favored folks. So you can see they're panicked as hell. We got Cernovich is out here talking about Trey Gowdy and how Trey Gowdy's been constantly ranting about Matt Gaetz. Here's an old clip from 2018.
You're talking about right now, was that strengthened when you went into this briefing last week?
Yes, I am even more convinced that the FBI did exactly what my fellow citizens would want them to do when they got the information.
Yeah, so he's a big Trey Gowdy's the guy who's constantly out there. Over the weekend, you saw a bunch of him saying Matt Gaetz is unqualified. So he's running his mouth for whatever reason. Mike Johnson was on the Sunday shows talking about the appointment process.
Would you take steps to put things into recess so those appointments could happen?
Listen, I believe in the principle of a new president being able to choose his team, and that used to not be a controversial notion. We're in a time of very divided government and a very partisan atmosphere in Washington. I wish it were not. I wish the Senate would simply do its job of advice and consent and allow the president to put the persons in his cabinet of his choosing. But if this thing bogs down, it would be a great detriment to the country, to the American people. Remember, they just delivered a mandate to the president, an overwhelming popular vote victory and of course, electoral college victory. And they have sent the message that America First policies should be the rule of the day. So the persons that the president is choosing will help with that agenda. They will take their leadership in these agencies and they will reform them as the people expect and demand. So we'll evaluate all that at the appropriate time and we'll make the appropriate decision. There may be a function for that and we'll have to see how it plays out.
Okay. Now, I saw some posts today about Mitch McConnell, the senator, outgoing Senate leader, that was hinting that he may not want to proceed with recess appointments. But then I saw a bunch of those claims removed rather rapidly. So haven't seen anything confirmed on that one way or another. Here's Amy Klobuchar, though. She's on with MSNBC. She is one of the senators. Let's see what she's saying out there on the cables.
Joining us now is Democratic Senator Amy Klobuchar of Minnesota. She's chair of the Senate Rules Committee.
Great.
Place. He's now coming to mine.
Yeah, he's coming to yours. And is he going to bring his ethics committee report with him, or are you going to get that report?
I was pleasantly surprised after Senator Durbin and a number of us sent a very forceful letter saying we want this report. By the way, there's a history of release of these reports for both Republican senators, Democratic House members, that Senator Cornyn actually said he wanted to see it as well. And he's a significant person on the Judiciary Committee, Republican. So I think there is going to be widespread opposition to this candidate. I noticed that Lisa Murkowski, who's always been true to herself, has already said, I don't think it's a serious nomination. Conservative Senator Kramer of North Dakota said it's a long shot. My favorite might have been the conservative commentator Ben Domenech, who said that he's absolutely vile. You can't have, I was listening to Jamie, and it is true, like, this is constitutional integrity. This is the future of our government. But it's also going to matter to people in their everyday lives. They supervise 115,000 people, hardworking prosecutors.
Going to be a lot less than that once Doge is done.
Doing their jobs. And when you look at the kind of work they do, protect people from scams, prosecute fentanyl dealers, this is real work.
What do you mean that Kamala let in? The poor lifetime bureaucrats at the DOJ and FBI, yes, pour one out for them. We're all devastated that they're going to have to go get real jobs. Now, at the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals, this is the classified documents case, we were very curious to see Jack Smith running scared again like not a real boy. He, of course, lost this case because they dismissed it because they said he was not lawfully appointed and he stole $50 million. Judge Cannon, shout out. She dismissed the classified documents case. Jack Smith appealed it to the 11th Circuit. There was something due earlier last week from Jack in the form of a briefing. Why do you think that you are a real boy? And what he submitted instead of that brief was an update saying something like, President Trump won this and this is unprecedented, even though he's been running for 2 years. He said that should be held in abeyance, basically. Put the whole appeal on pause pending DOJ decision. That was the latest. The Court of Appeals has now granted that request. So very short update. You can see it says here, 11th Circuit, appeal from the District Court, Southern District of Florida. That was a classified documents case. Judge Eileen Cannon presiding. Very short order. Says the appellant's motion to hold this appeal in abeyance, that's Jack Smith's request, and stay the deadline for the reply brief until December 2nd is granted. Check. So that means everything's on pause for a couple more weeks. David Smith, clerk of the court, sending that out. So that classified documents case on hiatus for a bit further. Now, this is an interesting post. This came from Kyle Cheney over at Politico. Updated his profile picture. Says a January 6th defendant's lawyer, it looks good, Kyle, nice job. Says he's spoken with a, quote, a high member of the future Trump administration, and a pardon is almost certain. Says, hey, similarly, this is coming in from Jeffrey G. Brown. So another J6er is hearing some good news about a pardon coming down the pike and submitting this into court, saying similarly, how is waiting 3 months an inefficient administration of justice? They're asking for continuances now because I think what we saw was Stephen Baker got a continuance and William Pope at Free State Will got his case a continuance of his trial, because they're saying, why are we going to have trials in December and January if Trump's going to come in and pardon everybody? Seems kind of dumb to have a full trial if that's going to happen anyways. Like sitting through a useless event. Says the undersigned, the attorney, Jeffrey G. Brown, to the undersigned. So this lawyer swear, I'm a lawyer affirming this under oath to the court, attesting to this, has spoken with a high member of the future Trump administration, and the future pardon of Thomas Osborne is almost a certainty. Heck yeah, baby. The undersigned has no problem traveling from Tampa, Florida to the district to spend an entire week participating in what some may view as an exercise in futility. I mean, if you want us to come there to trial, we can. We'll come. The question remains if this court is inclined to expend a significant amount of taxpayers' money, the court's time, valuable juror time, and court staff time to allow the government to get a conviction of Thomas Osborne, which will ultimately, after January 20th, be vacated or be pardoned. Either way, but if you want to go just sit here and drag everybody through this, we're happy to come down. It seems the just option, what we should do, is just to wait 3 months, that's all. Just allow the people's president, capitalized, to follow through on his promises. Wherefore, based on the foregoing, we request the court grant the relief herein. Sincerely yours, Jeffrey G. Brown, defense attorney for Thomas Osborne. Good news on that. So I don't know who Thomas Osborne or who Jeffrey Brown, his attorney, spoke to in the Trump administration, but those pardons look like they're coming, and they couldn't come a moment too soon. So here, rounding all of this out, the person who's currently in charge of the federal government, Joe Biden, is now being ignored on the world stage. So this is why we need President Trump in office immediately. Can't come quickly enough. Here's what it looked like. Joe Biden flew down to the Amazon, gave a press release, and then disappeared into the banana trees with that girl from Gilligan's Island. And then he was supposed to show up for a photo op the next day, but he must still be there. Here's what it looked like. And listen to the announcers once they realize that old Joe is not going to be there.
Wait for Biden, guys.
Let's start this over. Listen to them. Wait for Biden, guys. Oh, photo's over.
Where was he? They're telling Biden. They're telling him to wait for Biden, guys.
Wait for Biden.
Oh my God. Do you see him, Joe? Far left. Left to the left of the palm tree. Oh my God. But they took it. Yep. He's right there. Joe, we're behind the palm tree right now.
I don't see it.
He's, Joe. Trudeau and Malone.
There he is. Where's Waldo? Found him.
Don't move the gun. Sorry, thank you.
No problem.
I can't believe it.
Yeah.
Listen, I can't believe they took it. Wow.
Mudou de ideia, vai para o outro lado. Ele está para onde vai?
I see you guys. Right.
Joe's just getting the news. They took the photo. What? Without me? He got out of bed for that? Oh, man. So that's our incompetent government. And I don't know what happened on this. I mean, here's the report from The Intercept. What a joke. No show. Joe Biden, leaders take group photo without Joe. The president arrived for a photograph with other world leaders, but they had gone ahead without him. Oh. That is not going to happen next year. All right? Not going to happen again. So just be aware. G20. Joe Biden headed for a photo only to find they'd already taken the picture without him. Frustrated officials, U.S. officials, blamed, quote, logistical issues for the blunder, which had meant that Biden missed out on the shot, along with the Canadian and Italian prime ministers. Okay, so maybe they all three got left out. It came during they better put Trump front and center, man. They better put him on a friggin' pedestal. It came during a South American tour during which Biden's counterparts have been looking past the outgoing president. Biden's swan song on the stage was to take a picture with everybody. Everybody else took their photo, okay? But not, it's interesting, okay? Not Canada, not the U.S. They didn't care. And the Italians, my people. They took to a stage, chatted and joked. They gathered in Sugarloaf Mountain in Brazil. There's the three of them. Georgia Maloney also missed the picture. Due to logistical issues, they took the photo early before all the leaders had arrived. You think they're taking a photograph if Trump's not in the photo next time? Yeah, right. So a number of leaders weren't actually there. U.S. officials denied that Biden missed the photo officially for the launch of this. They said, well, he was in a different photo. Vladimir was not there in Rio. So what is this crap? Look at this crap from The Guardian. How The Guardian will stand up to 4 more years of Donald Trump. All right, so we're reading from them right now, but never give them your traffic, okay? I'll pull up the stories from them so that you don't have to, okay? We'll do it here. I'll do the dirty work of reading their garbage stories about their we're going to work hard to stop President Trump. Why? So the rest of the world can crap all over America and take photographs without our leaders? No, not interested. All right, so that's what's happening over there. And the New York Times is also developing a resistance. There's apparently huge swaths of people that are now going to form this new anti-Trump coalition, whatever that looks like. Apparently The Intercept is involved. Groups that use lawsuits and protests to stymie the first administration are going to face longer odds this time. The courts are more conservative and patrons are dejected. Democrats are just giving up left and right. And this morning on the member stream, we talked about Joe and Mika Brzezinski on the Morning Mika show and how they have bent the knee and kissed the ring, traveled down to Mar-a-Lago. They're like, we love you again. Sorry about that. And my initial reaction to that was annoyance and skepticism because I think they're both CIA. But in addition to that, it's also interesting to watch one house after the other just fold. It is totally dejecting to people on the left. And I've seen some other big lefty X accounts just deflated. How could they lose Joe and Mika? Are you kidding? They have. So that's great. And the deflation continues. So here's this guy. His name is Anthony D. Romero. He says, Trump's got to get past all of us. He wrote on their website. He said, Trump's bigotry and misogyny, anti-climate and anti-wildlife zealotry all will be defeated. Trump is anti-wildlife? He is? The bravado masks uncertainty. This time could be a lot harder, though. Nonprofits are finding some supporters are not energized for another round of resistance. They're like, man, he already beat the crap out of us, okay? They can't take it anymore. Good. That's what happens when you've been defeated. Go try something else. Instead, they have been left exhausted, wondering whether their donations made any difference at all. And actually, they did. They made a huge difference. They went over to Oprah because she needs more money and she's going to get paid a lot more of that. And I saw another interesting clip. Did I save this one? That was very fun from, no, I don't think so. But a lot of people asking where their money went because it's going apparently to Democrat coffers. And can't find the clip. The response from donors has been shock, anger, depression, sprinkled in with a few checks. It's not been a flood. And so they're not getting any money. They have no energy. And they should, because their policies have failed. Their lives will be better now that President Trump will be taking back the mantle. And so just hang tight, liberals. Trump's going to make America great again, even for you. All right. So speaking of liberals, let's go to New York and talk about Tish James. And the clip that I was thinking of was from the Will Cain show. And I saw it. Who was that? Who was speaking on that today? Anything new? Oh, here it is. Yeah, here's the clip. So those donos, speaking of those donos, donating to Democrats is a bad financial investment. This is what Lindy Lee shared. She was the same woman who said she was raising millions of dollars for Democrats, for crying out loud. And she doesn't know where any of that money went. And she feels bad because she is responsible for promising people what the campaign was telling her, that Kamala had a chance. Turns out she didn't.
They were telling us they were going to win when they knew they were going to lose. So that's the key point. So at what point did they know they were inevitably going to lose and they still asked us for millions of dollars? That is my question, because that's what I mean by being misled. What sort of internal polling did they have access to? And actually, Jackie Heinrich brings up a really good point. The Doug Emhoff, who was kissing Kamala Harris on Monday night on the forehead, was kissing a woman who knew she was about to lose, not the next president of the United States. I thought that was a really interesting insight. So when did they know? Basically, the age-old question, who knew and when did they know it? That's my point. This is not me being snookered by what Jen O'Malley Dillon said. Right. What I mean is they told us, they gave us a narrative that they themselves may not have believed. That's my point.
That forehead kiss, that's the kiss of death. Good night, honey. You're done. Yikes. Well, it's better than a backhand. All right, so that is the clip I was talking about. Now let's turn our attention to New York. and Tish James. Leticia James, the woman who prosecuted Trump to the tune of $500 million, should be removed from office and disbarred because she's a corrupt attorney general in the state of New York. That is according to Representative Claudia Tenny, who is a representative there in New York, who says she's a licensed attorney there. What we've seen from Tish is egregious, unethical, and in addition to probably getting dismissed or reduced dramatically by the Court of Appeals, it should be something that leads to repercussions for her because she abused her office. She ran for office in New York on the basis of prosecuting Trump, and then when she got into power, she exploited that for those very ends. And this is Claudia Tenny explaining that there needs to be repercussions for this, and she's not alone. There's a bunch of individuals from various states, including Iowa and more, sending a letter in to Tish, to Fannie, and to Jack saying, stop these prosecutions, okay? Trump won. Your criminal cases have been vetoed by the American people. This is Representative Tenny.
Look, Trump had when he won in 2016, remember, they had the FBI, everybody was out. There was a collusion hoax, everything from impeachment all the way through all that. Everybody tried to stop him, and the deep state went after him. And what did Trump do? He could have done all kinds of things. He could have referred Hillary Clinton, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, all those people, Comey, everybody. He did not do that.
Right.
And who's the one that didn't make an enemies list and didn't prosecute people who committed actual crimes instead of using all these people, these state operators like in Georgia, New York State, the shameful, shameless Leticia James and all these people trying to take Trump out now. Those people, actually, Leticia James needs to be disbarred and removed from office for the kind of behavior we're seeing out of her. And I'm a member of the New York Bar, and it's just shameful. I love what Trump's doing. I think Lee Zeldin is an outstanding pick. Elise Stefanik is an outstanding pick. And guess what? Tom Homan is going to be amazing, and he's one of my constituents, so I'm really excited about that.
All right, she's exactly right about that. Tish and Fannie and Jack, these were corrupt prosecutors who abused their office and tried to take out their opponent, and now it's time to pay the piper. Here is what AG Todd Rokita said. He is the Indiana Attorney General. He says, we're calling on Attorney General Tish and Fannie and Jack to immediately discontinue their political prosecutions against President Trump. The American people sent a clear message about who they want to lead them into the future. And for the sake of our nation, these prosecutions must end now. And they sent this letter to those three corrupt individuals right here. It says, Dear the Honorable Leticia James, Fannie Willis from Fulton Fannyland, and Jack Smith, dishonorable, not a real boy, illegally appointed, so-called prosecutor. From a bunch of people. Attorney General Brenna Bird from Iowa, the Iowa Department of Justice, signed by many others from other states, including the following. Steve Marshall, what's up? Alabama, Alaska's in the house. We got Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, shout out. Florida, what's up? Georgia, Missouri, Idaho, Montana, Indiana, Nebraska, Kansas, Kentucky, North Dakota, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, the great state of Texas is here, Utah, Virginia, and West Virginia, and Arizona's not on this list. I apologize again. We have Chris Mays here, okay? I know, Arizona's a mess right now. We're working on it. They say, all right, prosecutor punks, as the chief legal officers in our states, we write to strongly encourage you, Tish and Fannie and Jack, to discontinue your political prosecutions of President Trump. Now, while each of these prosecutions should never have been brought in the first place, they now risk fomenting a constitutional crisis. That is why the attorneys general of all of these great states, including West Virginia, are calling on you to immediately stop these prosecutions. They say, Mr. Smith, Jack, not a real boy. A federal court, they address him. Hey, Mr. Smith, a federal court has already dismissed your claims in one case due to your improper appointment. That appointment flouts both the Appointments Clause and Article 2 of the Constitution. Not only that, your prosecutions of President Trump, President Biden, and Vice President Harris's political rival violated multiple Department of Justice policies. And the timing of the undermined And the timing undermined the prosecution's legitimacy from the start. Indeed, the Supreme Court explained that yours was the, quote, first criminal prosecution in our nation's history of a former president for actions taken during his presidency. Never happened before. Historical precedent now shattered by them, not by Trump. And it was not justified. On November 8th, Jack, you asked the court to indefinitely suspend deadlines while you figured out what to do in this, quote, unique circumstance, you said. Well, the answer is clear, Jack. You should drop the prosecution, and I think that he will. He wants to get out of there rapidly. Jack has an incentive to run because his case is dead on arrival. The others don't. They can still continue to milk political gain from this, and I'm sure that they will. So they go to Tish and Fanny. They say, all right, Tish and Fanny in Fannyland with your lover. They say the Office of Legal Counsel has for decades held a position that states and their subdivisions, like Fulton County, cannot prosecute the sitting president of the United States. Okay, everybody's said this, which is why it's never happened. In 2000, the Department of Justice under President Clinton explained why criminal prosecution of a sitting president would be impermissibly undermining the capacity of the executive branch to do its job. No person, county prosecutor, attorney general, or otherwise, has done this before. They just did it for Trump because everything was allowed if it was Trump. Just as federalism protects the states from unwarranted federal intrusion, the Constitution protects the president from state and local fannies that frustrate the constitutionally vested authority to implement national policy. Now, all of that just buttresses common sense. And I know we're talking to Fanny and Tish today, but buttress means like support. It is bracing the concept. So common sense tells us this, but it's supported by these other concepts, okay? Easy to get confused with the word buttresses and Fanny and Tish, because this segment has a lot of that. But we're not talking about an ass in this one. Even putting aside the meritless claims that you have raised and the ahistorical tactics you adopted in your attempt to prosecute the leader of an opposing political party, given the timing, Fanny and Tish, there is no way that President Trump will be tried, convicted, or sentenced before taking office, obviously. A punitive damages award amounting to hundreds of millions of dollars, which is the Tish case in New York, which is the $500 million civil fraud case, was imposed in a first-of-its-kind civil fraud trial. It fares no better. And once President Trump is again in office, if you continue to attempt to prosecute or to pursue the sitting president, you're risking real harm to our federal system. President of the United States is the most important job in the world, Fanny, Tish, and Jack. The president leads the free world, and America just gave President Trump a mandate to lead the United States to a brighter future. Prosecutions aimed at self-promotion for you, Fanny and Tish, are at no time appropriate. And for the sake of our nation, your prosecutions must now end. Sincerely, your friend, Brunner and many others from across the great states. Sent into their offices, which I'm sure will be received in very Fanny and Tish and Jack fashion. And so we know that they have spent a lot of time in churches. Fanny went to one of the churches before and lectured everybody about how racist everybody was for inquiring about her sexual affair with Nathan Wade, a married man, when she was hiring him unethically and then paying him with taxpayer money without reporting or disclosing any of it. And then when called upon it, lied about it in court. Perjured herself, in my opinion. Well, now it's Tish's turn to go to church and to get anointed. And so Al Sharpton, the Reverend, posted this. Says Cornerstone Baptist Church senior pastor Lawrence Aker anoints New York Attorney General Leticia Tish James an eye with oil. New York oil? What kind of oil? Offering a powerful covering of prayer in service earlier today. Now, I don't want to make fun of anybody, praying or exercising their faith. It's kind of a sacred space. But I don't really think that these people are all that genuine.
From now, we thank God for you. We thank you for the anointing.
Which is standing in judgment. I know.
The anointing from Dothan, Alabama, the anointing that you take to Washington, D.C., and wherever you go. Lord, bless his feet, bless his mouth, bless his health and strength. In the name of Jesus, we pray. Lord, we thank you today for Attorney Leticia James.
Tish!
Lord, we thank you that you called her for such a time as this. Lord, let no hurt, harm, or danger come around her. Let the threats and the idle words of those become ruin. Lord, we thank you, and we just take your word that no weapon formed against her shall prosper.
Hey, it's the same thing that Fanny said, right?
Now unto him
common phrase, common scripture, but something that they're now saying. So I do pray for them. I do hope that Leticia stops living with the corrupt prosecutorial endeavors in her heart, exercises those from her life, returns to a new sense of justice so that the good people of New York no longer have to live in a partisan environment that is exploited for her own personal gain. Return to service, return to Jesus. Hopefully she hears the word. All right, now, spending time elsewhere around congressional matters. You see, this was a Democrat representative who was answering questions about why their party is in such disarray. Here's what he said to CNN's Manu Raju.
What was the biggest mistake that needs to be corrected?
Well, obviously, we've lost touch with the majority of Americans. Democrats have a habit of preaching down to people and telling them that if they don't 100% agree with our orthodox view, often defined by the far left, then they're just bad people. They're morally wrong. And that's not going to win us any elections.
We have policy issues that are out of touch with the American people. Our tent's got to get bigger. We got to be more accepting of positions all across the spectrum without the shaming and the canceling that goes on our side of the aisle.
Whoa, they're getting closer. They're getting warmer. The problem is, how do you deprogram that? They have been like inclusive of everybody except, I guess, white males and people who like families and children, I guess. And I think white women too. And I think black men and Latino men and women and all colors and all creeds, because everybody's sick of their disgusting crap policies. So it's just, I don't know what they've done. They got a lot of work to do. That's what happens when you treat people like trading cards. You start to lose track of what you've promised to all the different groups. And then you start to fail organically across the board. Why don't you just do the things that a good government is supposed to do? Make sure we have safe streets, our currency's not being inflated away, no, endless wars. They've already made their entire existence about other things, and now they can't walk that back. It's going to take a generation. So they're having a difficult time out there. Merrick Garland came out. This is a pep talk. Now, I wanted to share this with you, not because it's all that interesting. It's Merrick Garland. We'll comment over it to spice it up a bit. But Garland is here, and this is strange. As we watch this, do you hear a point to this? These are farewell remarks. Like, is this his outgoing speech? Is this Merrick Garland's final? Is he resigning? What's happening right now? Okay, he goes to the Southern District of New York. Trump just appointed a new U.S. attorney to thank staff for their work on behalf of the Justice Department. We know that there's going to be a new U.S. attorney who's going to be appointed for this district. Trump already announced that. So what is this? This is a weird pep talk. Let's listen.
And thank you for that round of applause.
Okay, this is Damien.
So we're really lucky to have the Attorney General of the United States join us here today. During my tenure, it's been a privilege to have him visit SCNY multiple times and to show him what all of you do. And that is some of the most impactful work happening all across the country. And you do the work in the finest traditions of the office and in the finest traditions of the Justice Department, without fear or favor, with independence, and without any regard to partisan politics. I am so proud of all of you. And I know the Attorney General feels the absolute same way. So let's give him a big SDNY welcome, and I turn the podium over to Merrick Garland.
A big SDNY welcome? Is that a normal thing for prosecutors to do? That's kind of what I thought we did like in high school, or like high school. I don't even think we did that really in college, really. High school, like, give us a big up. Is that normal for prosecutors? Is that what you guys do? Right before you have your lunchtime and your recess and your Lunchables, snack packs?
Thank you all. It's really nice to be here. Thanks, Damien. It feels a little bit full circle because my first visit was at Damien's investiture. And I got to talk to most of you then. So now it seems like a good time to talk to you one more time. Mostly what I just want to say is what Damien said, which is I'm incredibly proud of you. And I'm incredibly grateful for the terrific work that you've done.
What is this?
Over the past 4 years, this office has received public recognition, and rightfully so, for incredibly important cases, for disrupting Sinaloa cartel, for driving down
after you
violent
open the
crime,
borders and let them in,
for successful prosecutions of the CEOs of the largest cryptocurrencies in the world
that you guys embezzled
for
from with
relentlessly
FTX.
pursuing public corruption without fear or favor.
Who, Diddy? One of your own?
But this is just a
Or
sliver
Menendez?
of the work you do.
All right.
And I wish that the public could see all the rest of the work you do, the stuff that doesn't make it to the headlines, the day
We would
in
like
and
to see
day
their
out
text
work that
messages
you
too.
do,
Yeah.
the time you take away from your families, the extraordinarily long days you spend, and the risks that we all take. They would be extremely proud of you to see what true patriots all of you are.
All right, it's not a long clip. It'll be over soon.
Now, I want to say, while I care very much about the work that you do, I care even more about the way in which you do that work. Yes, you are aggressive prosecutors, aggressive investigators, aggressive attorneys in service of the public. But in everything you do it the right way. You follow the rule of law. You follow the principles of federal prosecution
So I think
and
they're
deciding
freaked
who you
out.
should
Like
prosecute
there must be
and who you shouldn't prosecute.
a lot of nervousness. Like, what is
Every
this for?
day you come to work with one job only, to do the right thing all day long. And I wish the American people could see that. I wish they could be in on your charging conferences. I wish they could be in when you're debating what should go into briefs.
Yeah, we
I
would
wish
like
they
to
could
see
be
all
in
that
when
too,
you're making
actually.
decisions about
Because-
what should go in an indictment or whether there should be an indictment. They would be so proud.
We'd like to see it, yeah.
That's where the rule of law really exists in this country. Now, for myself, I may be coming to the end of my tenure at the Justice Department.
You better
But I know
say
that
again,
all of you
buddy
will
boy.
continue. You will continue in the department's mission, what has always been its mission, to uphold the rule of law, to keep our country safe, and to protect civil rights. You, the career lawyers of this district, the career lawyers of all the U.S. attorneys' offices, the career lawyers of the Justice Department as a whole, you are the institutional backbone of this department.
And you're going away.
You are the historical memory
Not backbone.
of this department.
Blubberous fat.
You are the heart and soul
No.
of the department.
No.
You are
You're the
Justice
disgusting
Department.
long nails that need to be
I
clipped.
could not be more proud of you, and I could not be more grateful for all of the work that you have done to protect the American people. Thank you.
All right. So that's that. All right. Is that his farewell speech? Is he going away? That was like a big thing today. Fired, fired, fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. Anybody who stood up, you're fired. Fired, fired, fired. You with the ponytail, you're gone. Tall dude, you're gone. This guy, pinstripe, you're out of here. Anybody not stand up, you can stay. Anybody who stood up, you're fired. All right, Matt Gaetz should walk in here now and say, hello, everybody. Matt Gaetz should burst in through the through the drapes back there.
A moment to,
Well, that was very uneventful. All right, so that's what your prosecutors are doing. That's what's happening in Southern District of New York right now. Fired. All right, Matt Gaetz coming in hot. We can't wait for it. So this was another interesting clip. I'm still trying to figure out who this is. Maybe you can help me on this one. But Trump's coming in. There's a transition that's taking place. And the question is Trump going to sign the paperwork that is going to enable this transition to occur? It's a very complicated question. And so here to answer that for us is none other than Liz Cheney.
CBS has also learned that to date, the Trump team hasn't signed the paperwork that would start the process of the national security briefings so that someone's not walking in cold. They're briefed and up to speed, along with these background checks. That Partnership for Public Service, a nonpartisan group that helps with the transitions, confirmed that to CBS. Is there any good reason not to sign those papers? And what does it do for the officials who arrive without being read in on what's happening now?
Yeah, I can't think of a good reason. I think one of the great falsehoods that's been perpetrated on America is that our institutions are malfeasant. They need to be better.
They are.
They need to be slimmer. They need to be more transparent.
They are. They do need to be slimmer.
So you're not protecting anybody by not signing those papers. And especially with some of the nominees we have that don't have the really deep experience base, these are big jobs. I mean, intelligence is not just advising the president, it's also running a huge enterprise in a manner that allows our allies and partners to trust us with their most precious things. So I can't think of a reason why that's not signed. And to start your gig without any foundation at all, especially when the institutions are begging to give you that foundation, just seems wrong-headed.
All right, so Liz Cheney with some interesting takes there. I don't know exactly who that person is, but I think it is Liz Cheney. I could be wrong about that. But this might also be Liz Cheney. I don't know either. This is another one. They kind of all blend together. This is, it says it's Katie Hobbs. Oh, that's right. Arizona governor. Yeah. Looks exactly like Liz Cheney too, is now talking about they're going to fight back against Trump. Here's this one.
When hearing about the Trump administration's plans for border security, the emphasis really is on this mass deportation. What we saw here today is the actual work happening at our ports of entry that are interdicting drugs, keeping those drugs off our streets, and we need more of that to secure the border here.
As you know, Trump has promised that he would carry out mass deportations on day one of his presidency. Your state is estimated to have 250,000 undocumented immigrants. Some Democrats in your state, like Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego, say that she wouldn't allow police to be used to carry out this plan. Would you, as governor, allow state police and National Guard to carry out mass deportations?
We will not be participating in misguided efforts that harm our communities, and I've been incredibly clear about that.
So
that's our governor. We haven't advocated misguided. Oh my God.
You disagree with mass deportations and the fact that the president-elect says that's what he's going to be working on
Katie,
day
you're
one.
A governor. Act like it. Speak like it.
Well, I think that those efforts are going to divert needed resources that we need here on these drug interdiction and smuggling and trafficking efforts to keep harm out of our communities. We need those resources here, and the coming here today and seeing this operation firsthand just underscores that working in partnership here is how we can best secure the border.
All right, so they're going to just do everything they can to obfuscate and obstruct as per usual. Here's Representative Luna. She's over on with Forbes explaining her take on the election. Here's what she sounded like.
Election. Well, you know, especially in my race, speaking to Florida 13, you know, they were doing the same thing to me that they did to Trump. They were releasing poll suppressions. They said I wasn't going to win it. It was a toss-up. I ended up winning by double digits. So it was a massive landslide. And as you're seeing with President Trump, you know, my messaging, his messaging were very in line with one another. The issues affecting economy, border security, these are all things that people are voting on. They don't care about a lot of the issues that the Democrats are bringing up. I think that it just goes to show that the Democrat Party has increasingly become out of touch with working Americans. And that's exactly why so many people, so many minorities, so many women shifted largely to the Republican Party platform. Kudos to President Trump. So very, very historic win for the president. As you know, he won the popular vote. He's now going to be in the White House. We have the juggernaut, meaning we have the House and the Senate. And I'm very confident that my seat will stay red.
There have been many postmortems in the past week or so since the election, but one thing is a common theme, a common thread throughout, is that the economy remained the top issue for voters. And I'm just curious, how will you work in the next term to lower prices for voters, for all Americans, and to have them feel like the economy is working for them once again?
You know, I think the number one thing we're going to have to do is get back to the policies under President Trump. If you notice the 2016 economy versus the 2020 and now 2024 economy, President Trump really opened up American energy independence. He cut through regulation, allowed us to actually tap into our natural resources. Obviously, there are people that care about the environment. We want to do it responsibly, but make no mistake, when we outsource it and buy products from foreign countries, you know, they're not exactly adhering to environmental standards. And so the best way to do that is really buy home, buy American goods. And then secondly, I would say that, you know, President Trump is a massive fan of tariffs. And I actually, frankly, do support that, because at the end of the day, what ends up happening is you do have a competitive market. People will debate that and say, well, if you have tariffs, it's really the consumer that actually absorbs the cost of it. But frankly, what ends up happening is a lot of these countries, especially if you're manufacturing back home, ultimately end up either lowering the prices or wanting to still be in the American market. And so I actually think it's going to be a good thing net. We do have to work our way out of debt in this country. And so as a result of that, I think that we do have to, start making sure that we are empowering business owners here in the United States, that we are making it affordable again to own homes, that we are bolstering the economy. And that all happens through, again, renegotiating our trade deals, American energy independence, but also to ensuring that Americans have tax cuts. And so, as you heard with President Trump, he's going to be signing into law taxes on tips. We want to end that. Ending taxes on Social Security, and then also to ending taxes on overtime. And so for a lot of Americans, especially those that have gig worker jobs, that is a huge deal. And so I've been very proud to co-sponsor every single piece of that legislation.
Nice answer from Representative Luna. She is detailing exactly what President Trump is going to do and doing a nice job of it to boot. And so Tish James catching some scrutiny from the various attorneys generals, along with Fani Willis and Jack Smith. We'll see what their reaction is. Thank you for subscribing. We'll have the updates when they hit right here. All right. And so, my friends, we got one final update in Pennsylvania. And this one is fresh out of the oven, like fresh. I think it just dropped right here. All right. Here's the story. Yes. Democrats have been finally ordered to stop counting ballots illegally in Pennsylvania as they try to steal another election there. This is what Buck's GOP posted, saying the Supreme Court from Pennsylvania has now come out and is ordering all 67 county boards of elections to stop counting the illegal ballots, saying shall not count misdated and undated ballots. Now, this was a big issue because what had happened is Pennsylvania Democrats were openly admitting that they were counting illegal ballots. They said it on the record. It's on video. I'll play the clip here in a quick second. But you know who this guy is, Mark Elias, the Democrat dirty trickster, they say, over at the New York Post, who is trying to steal a Senate seat. He went flying in there and was basically trying to get these votes counted. And the Republicans were suing to stop the counting of illegal votes. And we know him. He was a guy who was very active in 2020, was filing lawsuits all over the place. Hundreds of lawsuits were filed in 2024. We covered many of them here, but he's not done yet. If they can win back this Senate seat, which is currently in the Republican camp with McCormick the victor, that would be a major pickup for them. So he's there. Republicans filed a bunch of different lawsuits. You can see a bunch of them came out. They look like this. In the court of Philadelphia County and others. Before we get to these, let me just share with you what they saw. So Republicans are saying, wait a minute, they're going to count ballots illegally? Yeah, this is the video. We saw these three people on one of these boards who's getting hit with these lawsuits was saying the following.
We reject all three categories of these ballots.
Your motion is to reject or dismiss the challenges in this category in front of you?
Correct, yep.
Not going to second that, mostly because I think we all know that precedent by a court doesn't matter anymore in this country, and people violate laws anytime they want. So for me, if I violate this law, it's because I want a court to pay attention to it.
Okay, so we'll come back. Apparently that woman made some donos to the Democrats, or some person on the board did somewhere. We'll come back to that. But the Republicans heard that. They said, what? You can't do that. So they filed these appeals. Here's a notice of appeal for a review at the Supreme Court. They said, all right, the Republican National Committee and the Republican Party have come out, filed this complaint saying, here's what the Democrats are doing. There are a series of ballots at issue here. We got 966 ballots, missing one or both signature of the judge of elections or the minority inspector. Okay, so something is missing. 663. Missing or incorrect information is required on the affidavit. 50 of those. Voter failed to check the reason for casting a provisional ballot. Okay, 227 people didn't check the box. Multiple defects on the same affidavit, including missing board worker signature. 26 of those. So they say the board decision to count all of those, and this is just in one spot, so there's 4 of these. This one went to Philadelphia. This one went to Montgomery County. This one went over to Erie County. And then we saw this one in Chester County. So Republicans filed them at all the counties. The Supreme Court has come out and settled this, rectified it across the board. But here's their take. Look, we got all these categories of ballots that are bad. The board's decision to count those ballots is erroneous because all 3 categories of those are invalid under Pennsylvania law. If it says if it doesn't have those, they're wrong. Election code directs individuals who sign a provisional ballot. It says shall sign the affidavit. As part of that, they have to supply those things. They're also required to check the box. These are in the law, they're requirements. And the Pennsylvania Supreme Court has repeatedly held that the word shall means shall. It's mandatory. And that noncompliance renders a ballot invalid and ineligible to be counted. That's prior case law. But the board doesn't care because they're cheaters. The decisions, nonetheless, to count those ballots lacking the signature of the judges is a violation of the law. But the board didn't care. So their decision to count those ballots also violates the Constitution and the Equal Protection Clause. Bush versus Gore, 2000, said a state may not, by arbitrary and disparate treatment, value the vote of one person over another. One person has to follow the rules, but these people don't. This person has a greater burden on their rights than this person who can do whatever they want. That is treating people differently. The board's decision to violate the election code, even as other counties follow it, okay, other counties aren't doing this, it violates the U.S. and the Pennsylvania constitutions because they're treating people differently under equal protection. This court can avoid all this by just declaring in our favor. Now, the commissioners met in a public meeting on November 15th to vote on this and to adjudicate provisional ballots. They orally announced the decisions. They said, we're going to count 663 provisional ballots, missing one or both signatures, 227 without a reason, 50 with incorrect affidavits, and more. And we objected to those decisions, but they didn't care. Well, we say, here's the reason. Now, the election code adds extra security measures if you cast a provisional. It says shall. You don't get to cast a provisional without following heightened scrutiny. The requirements confirm the voter's identity, and it shows that the ballot was actually supervised. Why? Election integrity. We put it into the law. If the voter does not complete the affidavit or they don't fill this out appropriately, the ballot is incomplete and it cannot be signed and counted. The judge already explained this. If the election code unambiguously requires a signature, then the requirements are not directives, okay? It's not a directive like you should do this, and if you don't, it's okay. It's a mandate. It must be done or else. A mandate without consequence is not a mandate at all. Now, while this court should not disregard unambiguous statutory requirements, the affidavit here is not that. completing the affidavit is important. It provides proof of the voter's ID and the eligibility to cast this, which prevents a double voting problem. So they don't cast a regular ballot, show up on election day and say, oops, I didn't vote, and then vote twice. The exact form here has varied, but making this the rule has happened for almost 200 years. The duty has persisted over the centuries because it's important. It's a vital tool used to secure elections from fraud, and the Democrats just dumped all over it. Accordingly, the board erred in voting to count these ballots, missing these signatures. They also note that the board's decisions to count the ballots prohibited by the election code will violate the U.S. Constitution and the Equal Protection Clause. There is a statewide rule. Some are allowed to violate the rule. So votes are not treated equally under the law. That's what happened here. Some boards will follow the law, others won't. And so the board's refusal to follow this violates the Constitution of Pennsylvania and will lead to unequal treatment of voters. And so we ask now for an order to not count the provisional ballots that lack signatures or that have incorrect affidavits. Don't allow them to come in and be counted, submitted by the Republicans and this attorney, George Bocheto and Linda Kearns. Shout out to George and Linda submitting this. And very similar, so we won't read through all of the others, but very similar framework here saying the board counted here 251 in this category. And so they made a mistake in that county. Same thing here, another civil cover sheet. How many ballots are we talking about here? 120 provisionals. Okay, so pretty small numbers, but across a bunch of counties, and then you add them all up. And we're talking about a race with a margin of, I think it was 30,000 votes last time we checked. So here's what Fetterman was saying about this. He got asked, well, you know, you guys are still fighting this. Are you going to concede, or you going to take this to the Supreme Court, or where are you at, Fetterman?
Behind Dave McCormick. Democratic officials in at least one key county, Bucks County, voted to count about 115 provisional ballots that are missing a signature, despite the Pennsylvania Supreme Court previously ruling that those are invalid. I want you to take a listen to how one Democratic Bucks County commissioner justified her actions.
I think we all know that precedent by a court doesn't matter anymore in this country.
What is she even talking about?
And people violate laws anytime they want. So for me, if I violate this law, it's because I want a court to pay attention to it.
So the Washington Post editorial board called that, quote, corrosive to democracy, unquote, and said, quote, county officials do not get to decide whether a legal requirement is material and must be followed. Courts do, and they have spoken clearly, unquote. What's your take? What's your response to that?
They do that all the time. Okay, Jocelyn Benson does that. The Secretary of State in Pennsylvania did that, decided, well, we don't have to match the numbers on the forms from overseas UOCAVA voters because that's not how they interpret the law. So their indicia, the check boxes that they think are appropriate, they just say are not material, and they interpret it in a way that enables their party to get illegal votes.
That Democratic official deliberately announcing that they're going to defy court orders and count these provisional ballots.
Well, again, I'm not going to chase every kinds of quotes, things like that, because I think you just pointed out that it refers to about 115 ballots, and that's not going to have an impact on this race at this point. So where we are now? It's very, very close, and I guarantee you, if Dave McCormick were in the opposite situation.
Let's see, where did that one come? Did that end already?
Dave McCormick. Democratic officials in at least one key county, Bucks County, voted.
Was that the whole clip already? Oh man, that played the whole clip already? Man, that was fast. Okay, so I guess his point is it's a small number. So if you break the law and it's only a small number, it's irrelevant. Stop whining about it. It's not that big of a deal at all. Just, I guess, eat it. Now, Michael Whatley, the GOP chair, said the following, says, we have now won. The votes cannot be counted, okay? Ruled yet again, undated ballots cannot be counted in Pennsylvania as well. So it's the undated ones as well. No more excuses. Election officials in Bucks, Montgomery, Philly, and other counties have absolutely no choice, but they have to reject illegal ballots. We will hold them to it, protect the vote. Now, that woman that you listened to in this clip, do you think if she was on the line, do you think if there were like 3 people in the room and they were all of her disposition, do you think that that order from the Supreme Court would matter in any way, shape, or form at all? Like she would go, she's counting the ballots, and this order comes down. Do you think that's going to change whether that ballot in her hand counts or not? Do you think she'll count it or not count it? She'll clearly count it, right? Even though the Supreme Court said don't count it. Think she'll count it? I think she'd count it. Even though the Supreme Court came out. Now, will there be repercussions for this? Yeah. We'll see. Here's what Town Hall put together for us. They say they're still trying to steal a Senate race. They just got told by the Supreme Court there, but we'll see if that changes anything. The state is preparing for a recount, and the boards are now counting, or were as of this morning, ballots illegally. Now, here is some interesting stuff. Apparently, this one woman, Diane Ellis Marsiglia, the Bucks County Commissioner who's openly breaking the law to count the ballots, contributed to Bob Casey, the Democrats. Oh, isn't that interesting? $600. Isn't that interesting? So the people who are in charge and the referees of the elections are cheating and counting illegal votes for their favored candidate. And even the Washington Post is saying it's corruptive to democracy. But they're doing it. They're doing it right now. And the recount will be on. And so we'll keep our eye on it in the state of Pennsylvania. But will there be repercussions? Will they look into this? Maybe start a RICO case. They'd have to bring Big Fanny up from Georgia. But maybe the Republicans have a Big Fanny who will be willing to look into this. We'll see. Corruption in Pennsylvania. Fortunately, the Supreme Court has come down, said stop counting illegal votes. We'll see if they oblige and obey with the court order in Pennsylvania. All right, my friends. It has been a beautiful stream. And so let's do a quick recap. If you're just joining us, we had a bunch of good stuff today. Some great clips and some stories and some good letters too. But we started the day off talking about how the FBI is racing to go get some legal representation. Apparently, they're a little bit nervous now that Matt Gaetz and others are going to be in charge of the institutions of power. Very upset about that. We had some great stuff. We talked a little bit about Trey Gowdy, Mike Johnson, Amy Klobuchar, the 11th Circuit, pardons for the J6ers, the new resistance, and Biden being embarrassed in the photo op, taking a photo without Joe Biden there. Then we talked about Tish James out of New York and how Claudia Tenny, a representative, says she should be disbarred and removed from office. We also saw this letter from a bunch of different state attorneys general saying that the prosecutions against President Trump should stop. That was a fun letter that got directed to Fannie, Tish, and Jack. They got anointed with some holy oil, and Democrats are still trying to figure out where they went wrong. We're still trying to identify this individual apparently named Sue, who may or may not be Liz Cheney. Let's come back tomorrow to learn more. We also have Katie Hobbs and Luna in the House. Then we turned our attention to Pennsylvania, where we learned that the Supreme Court in Pennsylvania has said, Democrats, can you please stop cheating and stop being cheating cheaters, and just stop counting illegal votes? And we'll see if they oblige. But time will tell. The election recount is underway there as Democrats continue to try to steal a Senate seat. We'll be here to keep our eye on it. And so now, my friends, it's time to hear from you and to see what you say about this. Of course, we are going over to Locals, watchingthewatchers.locals.com, our members-only community for our after party here in a few minutes. We'd love to see you there. If you're a YouTube member, you can grab the Telegram link on YouTube and join us in the members-only after party. And so they notified me. Thank you, K-Bean, and thank you, everybody in the chat who said don't show any boom boom sticks on the screen during a live stream. So I can't show the boom boom stick on a live stream right now. But I do want to thank Nathan and Alexis, my beautiful girlfriend and her father, for an amazing gift. I'll show you what it is on Locals. Shout out to them. They got me a beautiful election gift after the election was over. It's inside. It's heavenly. And I want to share it with you, but you'll have to come join us on the after party. I was going to try to share it with you today, but they said don't show it on YouTube because YouTube will get mad at you. Which is a bummer because it's cool. But I'll show you in a little bit. So come join us. If you're a YouTube member, join us on the Telegram link. All right. And so, my friends, some tremendous donos in the house. Thank you for sending these in and for joining us. Oh, it's a beautiful Monday. Yes, here is the Monday. Monday vibes, courtesy of John McGarvey. What's up, John? Hey, Lady I says, ooh, not oil. Was it a church ditty? Oh, gosh, no, that's not good. That's a different kind of event. Hey, 200 Watt Studio says, is it Goliath Cheney, Cannon Cheney, Bear Cheney? I don't know. We got different permutations of Liz Cheney out there now. Thank you, 200 Watt. Hey, Niels, what's up, Niels? Says, today you made me realize that the MAGA movement is going to win the AI war. We've got a decade of in-depth analysis on our side. Institutionalists only have talking points. Plus, we got Elon, baby. Hey, I like that, Niels. So also for our membos, anybody who's a membo, Niels is a membo, was there this morning. We unveiled the new Rob bot. It's a new AI Rob bot. We're testing it right now. And we had some fun with it this morning on our members only stream. We will be rolling it out. It's pretty dang cool. I will say it's pretty cool. So we're playing with it right now. And you're right, baby. We're gearing up. We're gearing up for the long haul. We're not just like riding here. We're going to just see what happens in America. And I hope America goes well. No, we're going to make America great again, baby. We're not sitting here and letting America be. It's called Make America Great Again. Make it. It's not let America become a nice place suddenly. Let America become beautiful. No, we have to do it. So we're going to make it happen. And I'm glad to have you on the ride with us, Niels. Hey, what's up? Roxy Loyola, thanks for becoming a supporter. Glad to have you aboard. We'll see you on the members only streams. Hey, Lady I says, okay, so crazy. One of my friend's granddaughters got brainwashed and went through a trans situation. Yeah, I know, it's terrible. Thank you for that, Lady Ice. Hey, YouTube policy. No live firearm handling or transporting a firearm in a live stream. Don't put it on the screen. Whew. Thank you for that, KV. I didn't have anything in there. That was just a box. It's just an empty box, YouTube. Thank you for that. Hey, I didn't know. Thank you. Now we learn something new every day. Glad you told me. Thank you, KV, and everybody for flagging that for me. Glad I asked. Lady Ice proves my theory that they rarely cover their tracks because they're so smug on their high horses. They believe their own lies. They think they're above it all. From Lady Ice. They certainly do. Knox is here. Says, happy Monday, all. This is from the Babylon Bee. It says, the fattest, sickest country on earth is concerned that a new health secretary might change something and do something different. Yeah. It's a terrible story. Could you imagine? What if we did something different and we all got healthier? What a travesty. Hey, Frou Featherstone. What's up, Frou? Says, Hillary needs gentle professional care. She sees Russian boogeymen everywhere she goes. Certifiable. She can't get away from the Russian monsters under her desk. Yeah, she needs like Russia way. When you have too much Russia, you need Russia way. And then she'll sleep better at night. If she takes 2 spritz of Russia way, it'll be good for her. Jennifer says, no pew-pews during a live stream. As for K-Bean, thank you, Jennifer, for flagging that for me, man. That makes sense, actually, right? You don't want people shooting themselves on the stream. That makes sense. John McGarvey. Hey, Rob, check your terms of service before show and tell, dum-dum. He didn't write that, but he should have. Thank you, John McGarvey, for being a membo and for looking out for us, brother. Frou says, I'll had to edit that message 4 times before I got cute and substituted gentle professional for psychiatric. Needs gentle professional care. Oh, I see. You had to substitute psychiatric? They wouldn't let you say Hillary needs psychiatric care? Why? Is that because it's like a medical diagnosis or something? That's funny. You're not a doctor. You can't say Hillary Clinton's a psychopath. I guess I can say it. Jennifer says, no pew-pews, thank you. And Lady Ice says, a good thing they have Ukraine to move to when they flee the country. Oh, wait, it's going to be bombed to pieces. Everything's going to be better under Trump. Glocky says, holy moly, look what the Air Marshal Council, who represents the Air Marshal, posted on X. That's a big one. FAMS AMNC over on X. Thank you, Glocky. Hey, DV Ace News. What's up, DV Ace News? Welcome aboard as a new supporter. Great to have you. And hey, Tom Walker, we just had a new baby. Says Trey Gowdy and McCarthy are best friends and golf buds. Yeah, that makes total sense to me. They would be golf buds. Maybe they're sleeping on each other in their bunk beds with Frank Luntz in DC with their golf clubs. Hey, what's up? The salt is getting deep, says DV Ace News. 16 months as a member. Thank you, DV Ace. It is, man. Salt. We got salt mines for days. Hey, Jack is here. What's up, Jack? Man, this cat. It's a good one. Hey, Jack Mack, 5 membos coming in. Thank you, Jack. Look who's here. Scott Voigt. We got Design is here. David DeRossier. My name is here. And Katie83. Gifted membos in the house. Great to have you. Hey, John McGarvey, clipping this for us from Keith O. Saying the Georgia Court of Appeals has abruptly canceled oral arguments in the RICO case. Trying to learn why. Don't know why. Yeah, that's interesting. So this came over from Phil Holloway. The oral arguments are canceled. Like, we don't need to hear from you. Uh-oh. That's not good for Fannie. Not good at all. That means that I can't imagine they're going to say she's right and Nathan Wade comes back. Okay, so she's not going to win this appeal. Have they already decided? Wow. Okay, interesting. Shout out to Phil Holloway. What's up, Phil Holloway? You guys should be following Phil Holloway, by the way. If you're not already subscribed to his channel, Phil Holloway does great legal analysis, and he's great. So check it out. Phil Holloway on YouTube. Glocky says, hey, this is the actual representation of the voters. They didn't elect the GOP. They elected Trump because of his ideas and policies. So the GOP can either sink or swim either way. Trump needs to form a new party with his new coalition and do it while people are still excited. Yeah, this is about right. We're making sure the GOP is not squandering this tremendous momentum. Hey, More Here is here. What's up, More Here? Bringing in 5 more here. Pam B, welcome. Kent Cook. We got Schechter Dissector. Pamela Flatter. Grammy Pammy. What's up, Grammy Pammy? And Stacy Pruitt in the house. What's up? Good to have you, More Here. Thanks for bringing in 5 more here. We have Lou Landry. What's up, Lou? Thank you for becoming a supporter. Welcome. Uncle Bozy says Biden was E for the photo because he was in the jungle looking for the cannibals who ate his uncle. Oh, that's right. Is that where the foothills of the Himalayas are when he was there with President Xi Jinping and that guy was rubbing up his leg? Was that one? Yeah. He looked like he was on Gilligan's Island. It might be a good retirement place for him. Spud says Joe missed his class picture. They did. They didn't even care. They just took it. Like, should we wait for Joe? No. He doesn't. He's not even barely alive. Like, that's a good point. Yeah, just take it. Crash says, I can't wait for the tell-all books from every fly on the wall in the White House. It's going to be brutal. I'd love to do a few 12-ounce curls with the Secret Service agents. That evening would be epic, says Crash. Yeah, think about that. The floodgates will open, won't they? There'll be a lot of finger pointing. It's going to be fun. Knox says, Donald Trump got through 6 court proceedings, 2 assassination attempts, 2 impeachments, scads of garbage from the mouths of Democrats for the past 8 years. A few soy boy journos are not serious resistance. No, they're not. And they're deflated, and I don't think they have any answers. I mean, they realize that their main tools, their main weapons, have no power. Racist, bigot, misogynist. They're going to steal your abortion from you. All those things. They have no power. Insurrection, felon, democracy. Thanks. Yeah, meaningless. Could you imagine? When you have nothing left, what are you going to do? Oh my God. Economic policy? Close the border? do good by your citizens and your country? They don't know how to do that because their policies are terrible. They want more spending and more war, and they think that's going to solve problems for people. It doesn't. They need to come up with rational solutions and then, that work. Free speech, due process, no political prosecutions, stop censoring us. Voice of the People says, Lindy Lee's X account was full of calling for bad things with people that don't agree with her. She knew the whole time about it all. She's grifting. Okay, so you think she's kind of flipped for convenience? Maybe to clean her conscience? No, I don't know why she lost. Oh. But she got her piece of the fundraising. Hey, Carol, what's up, Carol? Thanks for becoming a supporter. Very much appreciate you. Grab the AI stream from this morning. Okay, we talked AI at the very end. New members, grab the AI stuff. It was fun. We had some fun this morning. Hey, what's up? Uncle Bozy shared this. Uncle Bozy and the Lost Island of the Cannibals. Wow. Starring Uncle Bozy? Is that you, Uncle Bozy? Is that you? Man, that looks like a great film. I hope you survive, man. Nobody wants to be eaten. Hey, Worldview Insights. What's up, Worldview Insights? Good to see you. We'll see you on the members only stream tomorrow as well. Nate says, are you having a meetup in DC before the inauguration? Having you and Good Logic and Joe here would be epic. I'm in Alexandria, just a few minutes outside DC. So yeah, here's the deal on DC. I would like to go. And I am making phone calls tomorrow. Actually, it's blocked on my calendar. We submitted requests to various locations. The goal would be to get a place near the Capitol. But what I'm finding is it's very expensive. So we would have to put tickets up and the tickets would be expensive. So that is the caveat. I'm looking into it, but the costs are like a lot. We went to Vegas and the costs are a lot more than that. So we'd have to talk about it. There'd be a ticket price and it would not be cheap. So as long as you understand that caveat is happening, we're looking into it just to make it work financially. So I'm going to be on the call tomorrow with some places. If the further out you go, but the idea would be we want to be right next to the inauguration location. So we're in the action and you're going to pay for that. But it's a once in a lifetime thing. So I'm thinking about just do it. Let's just figure it out. But anyways, so that's the update on that. No promises on it yet. Still assessing costs and stuff like that. But I've got it on the calendar for tomorrow. Thank you, Nate, for asking. And thanks for shouting it out and saying you're right there. It would be epic. It would be epic. You're 100% right about that, which is why I kind of just want to do it. Hey, what's up? Uncle Bozy says, Jack is in hiding. He shaved his beard and it turns out he's Ellen DeGeneres. We knew it. Employee of the month, Jack Smith. Not a real boy. Uncle Bozy says, the oil came from wringing out Chuck Schumer. The oil that they sprayed on Tish. They took out Schumer's laundry and wrung it out and sprayed it all over Al Sharpton. Uncle Bozy, thank you for that. Here's a flying buttress. Well, that doesn't look like anything I've ever seen Fanny wear. What is this? I don't know. What is that? Hey, here's this one from Knox. Garland sounds like he's about to sob, and what he described is called work. It's their job to work cases. Does he cry for the janitor who cleans the floor because they do their job? He did sound like he was about to cry, Knox. They have to give themselves these parties. Are they going to hand out little slices of cake to everybody too? Here, have some cake. You did a great job. You're a prosecutor. You worked hard today. Here, give them some stickers and put them on their refrigerators when they get home. Let's give them a nice SDNY shout out. Yeah. What are you talking about? This is a professional prosecutor's office, not a pep rally at a high school. Dorks. All right, B.H. William. Rob is trying out for Doge. What did you think? You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. You're fired. I'd be good at it. Lady Eye says, Garland, you're good enough. Prosecutor tears would not faze me a minute. Okay, I wouldn't care. Not even a minute. Walk right. He cried. Yeah, all right. Yeah. Here's some tissues. Here's your box. Here's some tissues. Get out. And smart enough. And gosh darn it, people like you, Garland. You're a good person. Jennifer says, Rob, that is not Liz Cheney. I don't know, Jennifer. I looked at it 3 times today. Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you watching this in HD? Turn up your settings. I think it's her. Knox says, I wish the American people could see our department refrigerator and how clean you have all kept it. I don't even have to tell anybody to clean out the microwave. You guys just do it. There's a sponge there and we have soap. We have a system. So thank you guys for cleaning out the refrigerator. And we only have to remind you about the refrigerator like once a week. So if you could just, like, we're going to put a note on there again and just, just note, because we do have to throw out a lot of food. Okay. And the housekeeping gets kind of tired about it. So it gets stale and so just get rid of it. Okay. And we don't want to throw out your coolers and things. So okay. But you guys are great and you're doing a great job prosecuting people. Bruce Wayne says they put a suit on Bigfoot. I don't know what you're talking about. Moving on. Uncle Bozy says, I thought it was Michael Moore with the blonde wig. Okay. Yeah. So now but it's Liz Cheney. Wait a minute. Is Liz Cheney Michael Moore? Or is Michael Moore Liz Cheney? Oh my gosh. Uncle Bozy says Liz Cheney's not a real boy. No, she is definitely not. She's of another dimension. Former says that's not Liz. It's a guy with a mop on his head. I don't know. Liz seems closer than that one. John McGarvey, what's up, John? Thank you for sending that one in. Didn't resolve. I don't know why, but I appreciate the tip. Hey, and Sergeant says fake Liz Cheney, lady on Face the Nation. Her name is Sue Gordon. Oh, it is a real person. Oh, Sue Gordon. Sue Gordon is her name. Okay, I'm sure it is. Okay, Sue. All right, Sue. What were you doing? Were you on the January 6th committee too there, Sue? Hey, Chubby says, the Pennsylvania state courts have said the illegal ballots can't be counted. And that lady admitted to knowingly breaking the law. So where's the state AG doing their job? Yeah, alternate electors have been prosecuted all over this country by psycho prosecutors. Where is the one investigating her? Uncle Bozy. Same thing is going on here in North Carolina with the state Supreme Court seat. Democrats are counting illegal votes in Wake and other counties. Yes, they should be prosecuted. Those are illegal conspiracies to thieve the votes away. Amazing. Hey, here's the Rob bot in action. Here's the Rob bot. Who's your least favorite person? Let's see. It says, ooh, that's a spicy question. Take Tish James. She's on the list. Then there's Jack Smith, the so-called prosecutor who isn't even a real boy. See, it's pretty good. His antics have been something else, but let me tell you. But hey, these things are interesting. And here's another question from Rob AI, the Rob bot, Watcher AI. I think we'll call it Rob bot. Says, hey, buddy, hey, what's your favorite workout? Jiu-jitsu. I've been really into jiu-jitsu. Let me tell you, it's a game changer. Full body workout, feeling absolutely wrecked, which is absolutely true. And of course, there's nothing like a solid chest and tricep day at the gym, which is what I did today. I mix in some cardio and abs too. It's all about keeping mind and body sharp. Any tips or routines you... That's pretty good. That's pretty good there. Rob AI in the house. It's working. And yeah, thank you for those, Sergeant. Sergeant GPS. Thanks for testing it out. So we're testing it right now. We're training the AI. And we'll release it. We'll open it up, but I'm training it. So I'm reviewing all the responses that are coming in. And I was talking to my team about it today. And there were some great questions there today. It's super fun. All right. So, hey, Bruce Rice Baby. Dun. What's up? Bruce Rice Baby bringing in 20 membos, Bruce. Thank you, Bruce. Bill Barker coming in. Scar Scout. We got Tricky Vicky. Splendid Things. Potentially Criminal. Hey, potentially Sean is here. What's up, Sean? Hey, my friends. By the way, are you subscribed to Potentially Criminal's YouTube channel? You should be. He does good analysis over there. He's a nice guy. And he's a defense attorney. Susan Winstittle in the house. Noble Victory. DS is in the house. Critter number 3 is here. What's up, Denisha? Carrie Mache. Just Rondo, what's up? Augusto. We got Devil Doc, Jennifer, Sagebrush, Superwoman, Dwayne Lewis, SMB, Foth Tracks. We got Vicky Fox, JC Stick in the house. Courtesy of Bruce Rice Baby. Dun. Thank you, Bruce, for that one. Appreciate you being here for bringing in 20 new members. Let's see. Benjamin Lewis, what's up? Tell us more about the stick. Just don't show us the stick. Oh, the Boom Boom stick. It has engravings of El Presidente. It's great. I have to show. It's like laser engraved with President Trump and MAGA and America all over in ornate beauty. It's great. It's great. I was like, oh my gosh, this is too cool. I can't believe I can't show it to you. That's a bummer. All right, but anyways, that's what it is. You may have seen versions of it, but it's awesome. It's super cool. I'm gonna show locals as soon as we're done. Hey, Good Sign, what's up? Love you, Govea. Hey, Good Sign, thank you for that. I love you back, my friend. Thanks for supporting us for 6 months. Really appreciate that. It means a lot. Glad you're here. Hopefully you're enjoying it. Craig L says, my wife is ecstatic that I'm wanting to get healthier and spend 10 extra years with her and my beautiful grandchildren. Craig, my friend, I'm ecstatic about that too. I can't even imagine how your wife is. That's awesome. Yes, and I think it's going to be a lot longer than 10 years, man. So that's tremendous news. Sending good love and energy your way, whatever you decide to do, however you start to get back into the routine, to get into those healthy patterns, we're here for it, man. And I'm a big fan of the Heavy app, H-E-V-Y. I use the Heavy app for my weightlifting. It has built-in timers and you can follow protocols there. If you need something a little bit more guided, I think Arnold's new app is pretty cool. The new Arnold Schwarzenegger app. It's got a bunch of routines in there. You got to pay for that one. And the other meditation app that I've been a big fan of is The Way, which has been very good for me because it's just like, this is it. Just do this and just follow this next. It's like meditation by numbers. It's very easy. So those are 3 things that have been useful for me. Maybe one of those things can help you kickstart something off or be useful to somebody out there. Craig, I'm excited about it, man. And if you're on Heavy, the Heavy app, follow me because I post my workouts there and you can check it out. And none of that is sponsored by anything. It's just some thoughts. Okay. Hey, Dark Side Digital says, get healthy. I'm down 100 pounds since January 1st. That is incredible, Dark Side. 100 pounds, man? Congratulations. 19 months as a membo. You're down to 198 pounds, man. Down from 298. Oh my gosh, that is incredible. Dark Side, my man. Congrats on that, dude. Huge accomplishment. I hope you're proud as hell. You should be, because that is awesome. Thank you for sharing that with us. This one from Craig L. says, I lived on our, quote, closed borders, and we're overrun, period. So you're down even closer to the border. You're in George Allen Kelly land. Yeah, it is. The borders are overrun. I don't think the U.S. is in functional control over certain portions of it. B.H. Williams says, Rosalind, Virginia is just over the Potomac River, lots of hotels, plus Virginia has far more freedom than D.C. Give your tourism dollars to the VA and not to Marxist Mayor Bowser. Yeah, I'm for that normally, B.H. Williams, but I don't think we want to commute in from outside of DC into DC on the day. Like my thought is we get there, speaking for yours truly, get there a couple days early. Like we would do the event on Sunday. So we'd fly in maybe Friday, Saturday, do the event on Sunday, all hang out on Sunday, then go out into the event on the Monday of the inauguration. Because tickets are also going to be a nightmare. So the likelihood of getting tickets to the inauguration is very low. My understanding is you have to get a ticket from your congressperson, got to get it from someone who is in your district, and my congress people are all Democrats. So it's like, all right. So I think it's going to be hard to get tickets. I think the other thing would be to meet up before the event, do like a meet and greet, do like an event, and then get to know each other, and then everybody can just kind of pair up and group up and then go out the next day and then go to the inauguration, watch it from a parade or whatever. Would be my thought, because there's no way we can get tickets, I think, for everybody. I think you have to buy them, and they're probably going to go, for a lot. So the point would be, we would be in DC so that you're there. If you have to travel everybody in, then you're transporting a bunch of people into DC and everybody has to Uber in, and it's going to be a traffic nightmare. And so that was my thought process. But then I'm looking at costs for that, and it's not cheap, like not cheap at all. But I'm making phone calls tomorrow. So it'll probably be worth it. But that's the update on it. Thank you, BH. Rosslyn is also on the blue line of the metro. Oh, that's another idea too, right? Maybe get a hub outside of the city and metro it in. That's not a bad idea. Maybe a metro in. Just Me says, hey, we could just meet on the mall wearing Hawaii shirts and sunglasses so we can spot each other. Oh, wait, not a good idea. Cancel that. Was that, I don't know, was that like a J6 thing? Was that what's happening? It's going to be cold, man. It'll be cold there. It'll be freezing your butt off if that's all you're wearing. Thank you, Just Me. It would be fun, man. I'd love to see everybody. Lady Ice says, Vegas was awesome. Vegas was super fun. But the inauguration is going to be a whole different game. Anna Paulina Luna is like the older, grown-up, poised, non-brat wannabe version of the AOC. From Lady Ice. Yeah, she does. She seems like a normal congressperson. Bruce Wayne says Susan M. Gordon, a.k.a. Bigfoot, is what Bruce Wayne was saying. Bruce. Rub some dirt on it. Says, can you Photoshop someone into a photo, John McGarvey? He was late for a group photo, asking for a sad old man. And I think, has this been done? Let's see. Is Joe Biden... Hey! Yeah, baby! Papa D's back in town. What's up? There's the real photo. Look how happy they are to see him. All right. That's how we play it here in America. All right. That's right, baby. All right. More here says, I asked the Rob AI. I said, what is your latest YouTube video? The answer I got was Leticia James busted in fraud. It's 5 months old. It's a great feedback for that. More here. The reason for that is because I just loaded a bunch of stuff into the AI. So it thinks everything is fairly new. What's going to happen as time goes by, the AI will know that content is old content, and there's a recency bias setting in the AI. So stuff that is newer will populate. Right now, it can't really tell because it's all, I just dumped in 42 million things in there, 42 million words of training. It trained off the whole YouTube channel, but it trained it all like in a giant batch. So I think it thinks it's all relatively the same. But anyways, I wanted to do it early so that it can train over these next few weeks, and then hopefully that answer gets better. It should get better, is the theory. I've asked about that in specifically. And the other functionality that we're going to try or work on getting is so that it can pull the PDF files that we cover, and you can access them from the AI. So it's like a library of everything we've ever talked about here, including the documents, but we're working on that. Lady I says, Sue Lady is, I don't know. We got Knox says, you can literally run from Virginia to DC and not park. I ran from a hotel near the White House to the Arlington Cemetery and back. Total trip, 12.4 miles. Knox, you're a long distance runner? My body's not really built for that. I actually like running, but not 12.4 miles in January. But that's interesting. So that's the other thesis too, is I guess we could just declare a public meetup and everybody can kind of be on their own. I guess we could do that inexpensively. Just like get a permit maybe somewhere outside or something. All right, I'm trying to think about this. I like the conference room idea because we had a ton of fun there. It's fun to have like a landing space and we could all get places at the same hotel. All right, thinking about it. Thank you, Knox. But Knox is running. And the run goes past Jefferson Memorial and other off-the-mall cool monuments. Man, Knox, running all over the Capitol. Amazing. Uncle Bozy says, what if Trump gives you a shout out after taking the oath of office and calls you up on the stage? Rob, come on up here, Rob. Let him through. Get on up here. Well, then I'd have to go up there and give the best dang speech of my life. B.H. Williams says, running, I'm built for comfort, baby, not for speed. Yeah. Running? Who's running anywhere? Knox, that's funny. All right, so running, Knox is going to be running. Is 12 miles long distance running? Yeah, I think so. 12 miles? It's pretty long. What is considered long distance? I mean, a mile's a pretty long distance, but is that long distance running? What's a marathon? Like a marathon's a long distance, right? That's what, 26 miles? Hey, Palmy, no. Oh, hey, chartreuse. Okay, let's talk about the color chartreuse today. What is this? Does this line up? Which color am I on? Probably what? This one or this one or this one. Here, let me get it closer to the frame. So you can see it. Can't really do it. Here, maybe if I come over here this way. No, it doesn't work either. Yeah, all right, so I don't know. Hey, FYI, chartreuse is appropriately named for its resemblance to the French liqueur. Chartreuse is a yellow-green color that sits between yellow and green in the color wheel. Its hex code is DFFF00. In case you're wondering. Thank you, Paul. Is this chartreuse, do you think? Hey, here's this one. The new Justice League. It's MAGA time once again. Gird your loins. They are your retribution. There's the crew right there. Trump, Gates, Tulsi, RFK, Vivek, Elon, and Kash Patel, courtesy of Memesmith Paul Mino. Hey, Fred says, thank you, Paul. Fred says, after a long consideration or serious talks with friends and family, including Johnny, who was very helpful, Abba or Luna, Fred is Team Luna. All right, Fred. That's I mean, can't argue. James Pepper says, anointing with oil is a symbolic act. Roman empires did. So the Dems have returned to that for the same. Interesting comment there, James. Hokebird's Ill says, if Mark Elias was working with Bucks County, would that be grounds for disbarment? Well, if you ask the 65 Project, if you ask Democrats, like if you apply the Democratic standard, they tried to disbar a bunch of Republican attorneys. So yeah. Free speech says, we saw everything. Guard your six. Is that for me? Or something? Are you going to cover Lake and Riley at all? We were asked about that, Amanda. I guess it's sort of up to you. It's kind of what the news is and what you guys want to get into. So if there's a lot of demand for a Lake and Riley update in case, we can definitely do that. Hey, you're doing great on X, says Dapper Dan. Hey, sweet, man. Look at that. That's amazing. So we got some good followers, some good updates on X. That's great, man. Thank you, Dapper Dan. Thanks for flagging that. Shout out to our friends on X. And it's good to see everybody over there. If you're on X, it's a good spot to be. We got some amazing people who post, including in our community. Bonnie posts some awesome stuff, so you can join communities. We have a watcher community there on X. And Bonnie, we love Bonnie. She's posting good stuff over there all the time. And it's great to see everybody over there on X. Follow us, Rob Govea, ESQ. Follow other watchers in the wilderness, in the wild out there. And it's going to be good to see everybody. Okay, my friends, that is where we will leave it on the day. We are going to go over to watchingthewatchers.locals.com. B.H. Williams says, anything over 300 feet is a long distance. And more here just sent this one in as we're wrapping up. Says the Raramuri tribe can run up to 200 miles in one session. It's a long distance. That's very far. Your boy, 1 mile. And I'm feeling pretty good. 1 mile's it's good. It's not really a running situation. So, all right, my friends, thank you more here for that. Now we're going over to watchingthewatchers.locals.com. And my friends, it's been a beautiful stream. Thank you so much for hanging with us. Thank you to our mods and our meme smiths. What's up, Paul Mino? We saw Donut was here playing hooky. We had K Bean this morning. I know Carrie B's around. John McGarvey's always helping out. It's a beautiful day. And so shout out to our mods and our meme smiths, my friends. We are going to leave it there on the night. Thank you so much for joining. Thanks for those amazing donos and all of your support. We're getting the week started and we're doing it right. We're coming back tomorrow to get into it all again. And in order to do that, we're going to need to see you right back here so that together with your help, we can shine that big, beautiful spotlight of accountability and transparency down upon our system with the hope of finding justice. Make it a beautiful night, my friends. I'll see you right back here tomorrow. Bye-bye.